Hey, everybody, we're halfway through the weekend. It's Wednesday night, and welcome to A Flawed Man of God. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, I'm not a biblical scholar, I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my congregation or church. I'm not trying to get you to donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about Christ, give you some insights into the mind of what I consider to be a regular, everyday Christian. I've been a Christian all my life. I'm not really I'm not really binded to any denomination or doctrine. I'm just in the Word, reading it, trying to make the most sense of it, and apply it day in and day out. If you are looking to start a relationship with Christ, if you are curious about learning more about what Christianity has to offer, welcome to the show. This is a lot of this show is for you, and I want to hear what your thoughts and feedback is. Also, if you just like to talk about Christ, you've got a good, well-established relationship, and you just like hearing people talk about God and what it means to them, also welcome to this program. This is all set up to talk about God, all set up for us to make just make content that glorifies Him and helps spread the good news that Christ gave us to spread. So, with that said, if you've been part of my on my Twitter handle, which I'll plug right here, along with my YouTube channel, Rumble, Facebook, it's easy to get to A Flawed Man of God on any of those platforms. Like and subscribe, leave comments, hit notification bells, do whatever you got to do so that you can be here at every night when uh, when this show happens. If not, catch it after it's live. It's no big deal. Let me know how it's going. If you've been following me on Twitter, you have not seen as much recently today posting anything faith related. As opposed, well, I take that back. It's faith in relationship to the Cincinnati Reds. I am still angry. I'm still angry about the Cincinnati Reds. I'm still angry about what Nick Kroll and Bob Castellini are doing to my team that I've been a fan of since I was a kid. My first memories were the Cincinnati Reds winning. My first memories of baseball are Cincinnati Reds winning the World Series, sweeping the A's in the 1990 series. And that was the last time we were really good. It was the last time we were really good. I have a Chris Sabo jersey because he wore goggles. He played third base like a boss. He was my favorite player growing up. Well, favorite player. Nolan Ryan was my favorite pitcher. Ken Griffey Jr. was my favorite player. Chris Sabo was my favorite Red. Still is to this day. Though we've got some good ones. So with that said, I've been angry. I've been on the warpath. You've been seeing me posting hashtag sell the team, Bob. Get rid of this team. This is the whole thing. Look, Christ tells us not to be lukewarm. And Bob is cold as dead fish. This team smells as bad too. There's still people I like. There's players I like. And this is nothing to say about players trying to give it their all out there. I appreciate that. We signed Mike Minor, and I guess he's got to play somewhere. But he's not a good player. He's not somebody that we should be getting excited over. So don't lie to people. Well, I'll take that back. If you tell people that a guy is a good player and he's not, is that bearing false witness? I think it is. So Nick Kroll, stop it. Infuriating. This whole thing is infuriating me because I look forward to baseball every year. But maybe there's a silver lining to it because I haven't done baseball. I haven't watched baseball while I was been doing the streaming. I didn't know how that was going to line up because I like to catch games. It's relaxing to me. Was relaxing to me. Now it's infuriating. No, it's relaxing to me. And my son's starting soccer, so there's going to be a lot of distractions that are going to keep me away from the television and doing my unwinding period. But still, it's not an excuse because I'm not the only person, right? I don't even live in Cincinnati. I live right outside of Richmond, Virginia. All those people in Cincinnati, they got their hopes up because the Bengals are finally good. I don't care about the Bengals, but the Bengals are finally good. And where did they go? They went to the Super Bowl. They haven't been good since the last time the Reds were good, basically. It was the last time the Bengals were good. and they made it to the Super Bowl. They didn't win, whatever. But this team has the city has seen a lot of losing. And now they got a taste of what happens when it's winning, only to turn around and get excited for baseball season, only to see the owner just tank that team. Let's sell it. He can't afford to have a team. So if you're catching on there, this is my rant. So I just want to say, if you see me going off on Twitter, I'm trying to be a good witness for Christ while I'm sitting there raging at people. But that's where this anger is coming from. It's frustration. I love baseball. So with that said, we have got a lot going on tonight. This is a pivotal night. This is pivotal chapters that we're covering in Numbers tonight. Okay. And it's going to start off real big with a real big event. And then it's going to go right into some action. So all this stuff that's been happening in Numbers, all this stuff that's been happening in Leviticus, and we've all been just like, oh, let's get past this. The rules, it's so legalistic, it's so dry. We're trying to pull what knowledge we can of Christ out of it. And now we actually have some narrative. Well, we've had some in Numbers. Numbers has not been bad. It's been I say bad and from a boring versus entertaining sense. Numbers has been somewhat entertaining. It has a lot of stuff, a lot of narrative that you can cling on to, and that's good. That's good. But we got some, and we're going to continue with some today. So, Water from the Rock, chapter 20. We're going to start off. Moses is going to get himself in trouble, and we really haven't seen him do anything like that since maybe, if you count killing the Egyptian man. He's defending his bros from oppression and possibly serious bodily harm. We call that self-defense. So this might be, depending on where you land on the story, this might be his first real misstep that is logged here. But how would God react to it? Well, let's find out. Let's see what happens. Chapter 20, Water from the Rock. In the first month, the whole Israelite community arrived at the desert of Zin, and they stayed at Kadesh. There, Miriam died and was buried. Well, that was abrupt. I mean, the last time we saw her, she was getting leprosy because, she's being a little heinous, right? She's being what my grandmother calls a hag of misery, which is actually very fitting in that case. She was being a hag of misery because she was, talking bad about her brother behind his back, not being supportive, because she was a little salty that she wasn't getting the recognition that he was. Somehow she gets the leprosy and Aaron doesn't get anything. But hey, hit somebody where it counts. But now she's dead. Now she's dead and buried. And it doesn't go into it. It's just, like I said, this is pretty abrupt. Oh yeah, they got to the desert and they stayed at Kadesh. Oh, by the way, Miriam dies. That's all, folks, for her. Rest, R.I.P. in peace, Miriam. All joking aside, you did some pretty cool stuff, and you had your flaws like we all do. So, Miriam, hope that God's grace reached you, and that you're chilling with Moses in heaven. Now, there was no water for the community. And the people gathered in opposition to Moses and Aaron because, as they do, they quarreled with Moses, which seems silly to me. When has this ever resulted in a positive outcome for people arguing with Moses? What is the definition of doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result? Aha. If only we had died when our brothers fell dead before the Lord. Why did you bring... And the same song and dance here, too. If only we had died when our brothers fell dead before the Lord. Why did you bring the Lord's community into this wilderness that we and our livestock should die here? Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to this terrible place? It has no grain or figs, grapevines, or pomegranates. And there's no water to drink. There's no water. Do you think that God's not going to provide at this point? No. Okay. Right. Maybe there's no grain, figs, grapevines, and pomegranates, but there's manna coming from the sky every night. There's quail all over the place. Is that why you're upset? They didn't say there's no quail. They didn't say there's no meat to eat. Moses and Aaron went from the assembly to the entrance to the tent of meeting and fell face down, and the glory of the Lord appeared to them. The Lord said to Moses, "Take the staff, and you and your brother Aaron gather the assembly together." And what he should have said is, "Now you will promptly beat them, each of them, individually with said staff until they apologize to you and to me." Because that's what they should. That's what they need. You're gonna beat some sense into these people. Instead, take the staff, and you and your brother Aaron gather the assembly together. Speak to that rock before their eyes, and it will pour out its water. You will bring water out of the rock for the community so that they and their livestock can drink. Okay. Again, God, not being mysterious in any way, is giving specific instructions. Hey, take the staff, you and Aaron, you'll go out together, get all the people around, going, you want water? You want water? Hey, rock, give me some water. What is Moses going to do? Well, naturally, Moses is going to do exactly what God says, right? So Moses took the staff from the Lord's presence, just as he commanded him. He and Aaron gathered the assembly together in front of the rock, and Moses said to them, "Listen, you rebels, we must bring you water must we bring you water out of this rock?" And then Moses raised his arm and struck the rock twice with his staff. Interesting way of communication. Water gushed out, and the community and their livestock drank. Now, pause for a moment. Is Moses doing what God told him to do? Specifically how he told him to do it? Nope. Moses has lost his chill. Understandably. These Israelites, as God has said, a stiff-necked and stubborn people, have driven him to distraction. He's lost his daggone mind. He knows better, right? God loves him because he knows better. God loves him. But look, man can only take so much, and he can't take no more. That's what Moses said. He goes, "You want water? Here's your water." I wonder at what point Moses sat there and stopped and goes, "Oh no, what have I done?" Well, we know that eventually he does but the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust in me enough to honor me as holy in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this community into the land I give them." Moses just lost his golden ticket because he lost faith, he lost composure, lost control of himself, and in so did something he was not supposed to do, and that is defy the Lord. Because what do we see? Abraham makes some mistakes, always obeys the Lord, right? Isaac, Jacob. Isaac, you don't see much. We don't hear a whole lot about Isaac, but still makes some mistakes, right? Obeys the Lord. Jacob makes a lot of mistakes, obeys the Lord. Joseph, awesome dude, obeys the Lord. Moses, he's pretty, look, he's buddies with God at this point. Obeys the Lord until he doesn't. And there we go. But is this such a bad thing? We'll see. I've got some opinions on that because I know the Lord loves Moses so much. Again, Moses really comes across as one of God's favored sons. Sits down and communes with him. So, to end that passage real quick, these were the waters of Meribah, where the Israelites quarreled with the Lord and where he was proved holy among them. And Moses lost his ticket. Edom denies Israel passage. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom, saying, "This is what your brother Israel says. You know about all the hardships that can come on us. Our ancestors went down into Egypt and we lived there many years. The Egyptians mistreated us and our ancestors. But when we cried out to the Lord, he heard our cry and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. Moses sent that message. Because we know the Israelites as a community didn't send that message. They would be more like, I can't believe God did this to us. We were so happy in Egypt, and God just yanked us out of there, and he just threw us in this wilderness, and we've been starving and just poor and indigent, homeless. We just got nothing to do. Please help us. Moses knows better. Backhand all those people. Now we are here at Kadesh, a town on the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your country. We will not go through any field or vineyard or drink water from any well. We will travel along the king's highway and not turn to the right or to the left till we have passed through your territory. Okay, pretty straightforward. Hey, look, guys, we know we're going to be trespassing. We've been through a lot. We'd like to get through. The Lord is with us. He's got us on a mission. We're supposed to do something. Please, we're not going to mess with your stuff at all. We just need to walk through. In the country where I grow up, where I still live, that's not so much country as I used to where I used to live. 7 minutes down the road. There's a lot of hunting. There's a lot of hunting that goes on. People got dogs, and people kill game. Now, what a lot of people who don't hunt often don't understand is sometimes when you shoot and you strike the animal, it doesn't just sit down and die. There's a lot of, depending on where you hit it, it still might be a kill shot, but there's a lot of adrenaline, a lot of instinctual actions that go on, and a deer or whatever can run for a good long distance. If you've got a dog's going to chase that animal. So when you do that, sometimes you can cross over. You can cross into other people's property. Now, the rule, and I think if I remember the rule in Virginia, I take that back. I don't know the rule exactly. You have the right to chase your prey, and you have the right to go retrieve your dog if it goes into somebody's property. I can't remember if you're allowed to go armed or not. I think that you are not allowed to go armed, but I'm not sure. Not without permission, obviously. But that's what you do. You go there. You just go straight to the animal, or you can whirl. If you're looking around, you can look. You go straight to your pet, to your hunting dog, and you get them and you get out. Right. But that's the whole purpose to be. That's kind of what the Israelites are doing here. Hey, we got to get through here. We're just going to go right through. We're not going to stop. We're not going to drink any of your water. We're not going to try to eat any of your food. We just want to get through. So Edom, cousins, right? Cousins, because brother Israel. Well, I guess brother Edom. Edom answered, "You may not pass through here. If you try, we will march out and attack you with the sword." All right. Hippity hoppity, stay off my property. The Israelites replied, "We will go along the main road, and if we or our livestock drink any of your water, we will pay for it. We only want to pass through on foot, nothing else." Again, they answered, as Gandalf, "You shall not pass. You may not pass through. No. It's my property. Stay off. You're not welcome here." This is a far cry from how it used to be, because remember, when Esau and Israel reunited, I think it was Esau and Jacob at that point, reunited. It was a warm welcome. It ain't so warm right now. Things done changed. Then Edom came out against them with a large and powerful army. Since Edom refused to let them go through their territory, Israel turned away from them. Wonder what God was on. What God told them about that. Was that something where they just lost heart, turned tail, and ran, or did they confer with God? Moses has probably taken a hit to his confidence. He was doing well dealing and managing the Exodus at this point, um, keeping some of his sanity, and he lost control. He lost his temper, and then he displeased the Lord. And so the Lord said, "Nope, you get to be just like the rest of them, not getting into the promised land." And that's it. That's it for that story. Because what do we have? The death of Aaron. The whole Israelite community set out from set out from Kadesh, and came to Mount Hor. At Mount Hor, near the border of Edom, the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will not enter the land I give to the Israelites, because both of you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah." Yeah, that wasn't the first time Aaron did something stupid. Though that wasn't really Aaron's doing. He probably could have been like, Moses, don't do that. Aaron was probably staying out of Moses' way. But Aaron's got plenty of reason not to be able to get into Israel. Into the promised land. Get Aaron and his son Eleazar and take them up to Mount Hor. Remove Aaron's garments and put them on his son Eleazar. For Aaron will be gathered to his people. He will die there. Well, that'll be some interesting news. Aaron's probably sitting there going, "Oh, well, I guess I need to go say goodbye to people. And I guess I'll just die." So Moses did as the Lord commanded, as he does. They went up to Mount Hor in the sight of the whole community. Moses removed Aaron's garments and put them on his son Eleazar. And Aaron died there on top of the mountain, because God don't lie. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountains, and when the whole community learned that Aaron had died, all the Israelites mourned him for 30 days. Why? Like I know why you should. Because Aaron, all his faults, still trying his best, I'm assuming. I'm getting the impression from this that God had something in store for Aaron. Why he said, "Look, he put him on a time limit or something. Said, "Look, you're gonna die, right? Eventually, when we get to a certain point, I'm gonna tell you you're gonna die, because it's too much, Aaron." But still, Aaron putting the work in, trying to do his best. We assume, even though he has some big errors in judgment, that's fine, right? We love him as much as we can, as much as we should. We love him, mistakes and all. We make mistakes. We make errors in judgment. The difference between a wise man and a fool is that nobody trusts the fool to make the same decisions a wise man does. But they're mourning him. The Israelites don't like him. Every time he turns around, they're complaining about him and Moses. They're mourning him for 30 days. What is it? You don't understand what you got until it's gone? What are we going to do? Israelites are children. Could you imagine? Look, if any of you guys have had to manage people, if you do manage people, if you're a supervisor of some point, could you imagine having employees like this? I couldn't. It's terrible. And then that's that. So Miriam's dead at the beginning of chapter 20, and Aaron is dead at the end of chapter 20. So it's just Moses now. Well, Moses and Joshua. My man. Arad destroyed. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard that Israel was coming down along the road to Atharim, he attacked the Israelites and captured some of them. Well, he's not doing a show of force. He's doing the actual deed here. Then Israel made this vow to the Lord: "If you will deliver these people into our hands, we will totally destroy their cities." This pleases God. The Lord listened to Israel's plea and gave the Canaanites over to them. They completely destroyed them and their town, so the place was named Hormah. Good for you, Israel. Good for you. You did. Look, this is some initiative. some initiative from the Israelites. We haven't really seen much of this at all, if at all. This might be one of the first times where they make an offering. Now, Moses, he's full of it, right? He's full of initiative. He's in there interceding. He's in there, um, being an activist for the Israelites, coming in there. Hey, God, don't destroy them. Do this, do that. Moses is interceding. This doesn't say Moses. This says Israel. This means the community did this, made the vow. Please help us get our people back. And if you do, we're going and you help us beat the snot out of them, we're going to destroy all their cities. And they're Canaanites. So we already know the Lord doesn't have a good plan for them. So the Lord goes, yes, we will. And the Israelites do what they said they're going to do. Great job. Yes. Hooray for the Israelites. Hooray for the Israelites. The bronze snake. They traveled from Mount Hor along the route to the Red Sea to go around Edom. But the people grew impatient on the way, as they do. They spoke against... Why? Why? What is... I have to ask this question again. How bad is the rest of the planet that God thought that the Israelites were the ones worthy of redemption? How bad has Satan corrupted the earth at this point? It's got to be terrible. And all the people who don't believe in the Nephilim, I mean, it makes sense here. It makes sense here. That the demons are going down there, that the angels have fallen, they've gone down there, and they're just corrupting the land, right? The Israelites are okay. Right? But the people grew impatient on the way. They spoke against God and against Moses and said the same damn thing they always say. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There's no bread. There's no water. We detest this miserable food because God said you would. I'm going to make you eat quail until you're sick of it. You big babies. You wanted meat. Now you get meat. And now you detest the miserable food. Now he comes back. There's no bread. There's no manna. Or we assume the manna is still coming down. There's no water. We detest this miserable food. Then the Lord sent venomous snakes among them. They bit the people, and many Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, we sinned when we spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray that the Lord will take the snakes away from us. So Moses prayed for the people. Sounds like when he was in Israel. I'm sorry. Sounded like when he was in Egypt. Okay? Pray that the Lord takes the snakes away from us. Yeah. Oh, wait. Snakes? Oh, no. We take it all back, God. Take it all back. Don't send the poisonous snakes. We realize the mistake we made. God literally just delivered you, or just handed you a victory against some Canaanite people. And the first thing you're going to do is turn around and start complaining again, as you always do. This is why the Exodus is so frustrating. This is why the actions of the Israelites throughout the Old Testament is so frustrating. Because guess what? We're not done yet. We're still not in the promised land. Still not in there. The Lord said to Moses, make a snake and put it up on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live. So Moses made a bronze snake and put it up on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, they lived. And thus we have, I can't remember what they call it, but the medical symbol with the snake on the pole. Amen, guys. Amen. The journey to Moab. The Israelites moved on and camped at Oboth. Then they set out from Oboth and camped in Abarim in the wilderness that faces Moab towards the sunrise. From there, they moved on and camped in Zered Valley. They set out from there and camped alongside the Arnon, which is the wilderness extending into the Amorite territory. The Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. That is why the book of the book of the wars of the Lord says, Zahab and Supa and the ravines, the Arnon and the slopes of the ravines that lead to the settlement of Ar and lie along the border of Moab. Hold on. There's a book of the wars of the Lord? What is this all about? What am I missing here? That needs to be explored because I do like military history, been a part of military history, kind of had, something I'm interested in. Want to learn more about it. What did I say? Zabhab and Supa and the ravines, the Arnor and the slopes of the ravines that lead to the settlement of Ar and lie along the border of Moab. From there, they continued on to Beer. Beer! The well where the Lord said to Moses, gather the people together and I will give them water. Or does he mean hops? Or hops and water. Then Israel sang the song, Spring up, O well. Sing about it. And the well that, I'm not singing, guys. And about the well that but I am going to start over because I really screwed this up. Spring up, O well. Sing about it. About the well that the princess dug. And that the nobles of the people sank, the nobles with scepters and staff. Then they went from the wilderness to Mattanah, from Mattanah to Nahaliel, from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley in Moab, where the top of Pisgah overlooks the wasteland. Sorry, guys, for me butchering all of that. And we're in the last section for tonight. Israel sent messengers to say, Sihon, king of the Amorites, let us pass through your country. Doing it again, right? Being nice. Hey, can we have permission? We know we're trespassing, but, let us pass through your country. We will not turn aside into any field or vineyard or drink water from any well. We will travel along the king's highway until we have passed through your territory. Hey, we're going to be right out there in the open. Not going to be messing with anything. Just want to get through. But Sihon would not let Israel pass through his territory. He mustered his entire army and marched out into the wilderness against Israel. When he reached Jahaz, he fought with Israel. Israel, however, put him to the sword and took over his land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, but only as far as the Ammonites, because their border was fortified. Israel captured all the cities of the Amorites and occupied them, including Heshbon and all its surrounding settlements. Heshbon was the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab and had taken from him all his land as far as the Arnon. So, okay, hey guys, we're not here to start any trouble. We just want to pass through. That's all we want to do. We don't know what he said. Oh yeah, they said they would not let him pass. Instead, he came out there. And so they go, okay, you want to attack me? That's fine. I'm just going to wreck all your stuff and take it over. And that's what he do. And killed him, put him to the sword. And that is why the poets say, come to Heshbon and let it be rebuilt. Let Sihon's city be restored. Fire went out of Heshbon, a blaze from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar of Moab, the citizens of Arnon's height. Woe to you, Moab, you are destroyed, people of Chemosh, or Chemosh. He has given up his sons as fugitives and his daughters as captives to Sihon, king of the Amorites. But we have overthrown them. Heshbon's dominion has been destroyed all the way to Dibon. We have demolished them as far as Nophah, which extends to Medeba. So Israel settled in the land of the Amorites. After Moses had sent spies to Jazer, the Israelites captured its surrounding settlements and drove out the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and went up along the road to Bashan. And Og, king of Bashan, and his whole army marched out to meet them in battle at Edrei. Then the Lord said to Moses, do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him into your hands. Ha ha! You just wandered into my trap card. Along with his whole army and his land. Do to him what you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. So they struck him down, together with his sons and his whole army, leaving them no survivors, and they took possession of his land. That's right. Not scorched earth, but take no prisoners. The Israelites, the Israelites have a tendency to do that, take no prisoners. And when they don't, or I guess when they do take prisoners, that's when some of the trouble starts. We'll see how that ends up. But that's it for tonight on that end. So we've got some pretty serious happenings here. All right. Miriam dies. Moses makes a big mistake, not doing what God says, loses his golden ticket into the promised land. Aaron up and dies. Just randomly, God says, or seemingly randomly, God says, oh, snap. And there we go. Then they come out there and they start beating people left and right. Good for you. It's okay. Watch it on the replay, Fig. Glad to have you here. One way or the other, because we had some good action in here. We're gonna get some tomorrow. If we do this tomorrow, it's Thursday night. I've been wanting to get into a couple of things. I want to talk about what happened on Twitter last night. It was sad. He's seeing what people will do when they feel like they're challenged and they feel like the easiest or best way to combat you is to call you a racist or a bigot or something like that. It does not require much introspection. It does not require any type of intellectual honesty. You just need to say it, and then you have labeled that person. But what it ends up demonstrating to people who have the sense of and presence of mind to read a conversation and understand context is that many of these people are just projecting their own biases, their own hatred, and their own problems onto other people, right? People that they view as an enemy for whatever reason. Can't be racist if I'm not into NASCAR. What if you're a Bubba Wallace fan, though? Here's my thing about NASCAR. And I used to be a big NASCAR fan. And my problems with NASCAR, I'm an auto enthusiast, right? I like cars. I used to be, diehard Ford. That's because you grow up in the country. You got to pick one of the big three, right? Yeah, no. I'm an auto enthusiast. Maybe I've talked about it before. Big Joe Montana fan. He was my favorite. Remains my favorite. He remains my favorite football player to this day. He started an Indy race team, and so one of his drivers, or the driver of the target car at that time, was Juan Pablo Montoya. So I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna root for this guy, and pretty good in Indy. Then he goes over to Formula. So I start watching Formula. Wholly different sport than NASCAR. That is where the big boys come out to play. And if any of you guys ever, I recommend getting into some of the documentaries on early Formula racing and the safety or the lack of safety involved. Those guys were just insane. We think about NASCAR, dude. These guys were way crazier. That's one thing that the Europeans seem to do well, and that is auto racing. Right? We build some pretty quality vehicles here. That's not mine. I drive a Kia Stinger, which I like. I didn't want to get a Kia for a long time, but I'm getting off of it. But I had a Mustang, had a Ford Mustang. I loved it. Didn't have any problems with it actually. It was a good car, right? Had before that had a Subaru WRX, which I actually did have problems with, which was weird. You'd think it'd be the other way around. Subarus generally are bulletproof. Like you drive them until they just rust out from under you. Had a problem. Blew the engine at 33,000 miles, and so then I traded it in. I thought I was hot stuff in that Subaru, and when it was raining, I was. It's a fun car to drive. It's 2002. It's the first year the WRX came out. It wasn't 2002 when I bought it. I bought it in 2004. But those cars, those WRX, that all-wheel drive the Subaru makes is just fun. So fun to drive in any type of inclement weather. But Chevy, Toyota, getting there. At the time, at the time I bought that Subaru, I was working for a Corvette speed shop, and that's when I started get watching GT Le Mans and and the Grand Am series and seeing the C5R, the C6 was coming out. I got to go. We got an early delivery. Did the Corvette Museum delivery of the C6 in 2005. We went to Corvettes of Carlisle. The company I was working for goes there every year. Went to Corvettes of Carlisle. Saw every single possible Corvette type you could buy. What I love the rest of mods. My favorite Corvette, 1959, 1960. You'll see one back there, model up there. Love that solid axle, just very classy. It's got that old, that old 50 style of vehicle modeling and design, which is what like a work of art, just classy, right? And you get to see somebody do a rest mod when they drop an LS2 motor in there and big brake kit and do all the suspension work, and now all of a sudden the thing can really move. But I haven't really owned a GM product that I can think of. Almost bought a Toyota. I was more recently. I bought a 1500 Ram Rebel back in 17. I love that truck to death, but people couldn't stop hitting it. And so I decided finally, I decided that was just a accident magnet. So I traded it in, and since I was commuting and still am somewhat commuting a fair amount, I got a road card. So now I got the Kia Stinger. Got to say, solid car. It is as fast. It is as fast as it needs to be. And kudos to Kia. I mean, they have come a long way. Kia used to be a dumpy car, but we bought a Elantra as a commuter car, which is actually what I drive now. It's a 13 Elantra, and the car's been solid. And so, hey, Hyundai seems to be putting a good brand together. So Hyundai, Genesis, Kia, they're all part of the same group, like Ford, Lincoln, Mercury, GMC, Buick, Chevy. It's all part of. They're all in that. That's their cluster, right? And you get in those cars, they're nice now. They're nice. They don't cost a whole lot. I mean, they ain't cheap. Nothing's cheap anymore. But I mean, you get a lot of quality for that. So again, I don't really. It does. My whole thing was Kia is spelled KIA, which me as a military guy immediately sees killed in action. I mean, it's pretty ominous. And so it was one of the things when I was in Iraq. You'd see we had the Ugandan military was there with us doing the internal base security. Real friendly people, awesome. Everybody there was in a good mood for the Ugandan army. It was weird. But you would see them, and they had the old like European style pickup trucks where it's the cab over design, and it's very small, and they're packed. They're packed in there because they're all riding I think because they only have one for the whole group, and so they're all packed in there going to their different checkpoints, and you see it on there. You see a packed in truck, and it's got KIA written all over it. It just seems really ominous. So I thought about that, and I was like, I'm never going to own one. And now with the new redesign, if you look, the new Kia logo looks like somebody screwed up the 9-inch nails logo. So it's harder for me to associate the KIA there. So I can just say Kia. It's Kia. I like it. But that's anyway. So because I'm an auto enthusiast, because I started watching Formula, because I started watching GT and Le Mans, which the Corvette is awesome. Because I was watching those. In fact, if you see, well, I'll hang it up in a minute. While I was working there, I got a signed and numbered print autographed by the drivers, Ron Fellows and his band of merry men. The 24 hours of Le Mans that the C5R won, and pretty much saved the Corvette line. with that new design. Um, I'll hang it up. It's gonna go back there. Actually, it's huge. It's huge. But that said, once I got into those sports, NASCAR started to look less and less exciting, right? And then Car Tomorrow came out around the same time, 2006 ish, right before I was deploying overseas. Car Tomorrow was coming out, or they were talking about it, and at that point, it was just like they're putting spoilers on the back. They're driving four-door sedans where they used to be, a Thunderbird and a Monte Carlo going at it, or go way back and you see the super. I mean, the car, and they're not. It's not stock car racing like NASCAR. Part of NASCAR stands for stock car racing. You were supposed to be able to drive what was on the. Yeah, it is. It is well, and it's so standardized now. So there's no personality left in the vehicles, right? And there's barely any personality with the drivers anymore either. But it used to be it's like what you saw on there was a slightly modified version of what you could go into the showroom and buy. So it's like you see Richard Petty driving that Daytona around in Daytona, or that Super B in Daytona. You can go to the Dodge dealership or the Chrysler deal, Dodge or Chrysler, Plymouth. Crap, I can't remember which one it was. Anyway, you can go to the dealership and say, "I want that," and you're going to get it, wing and all. Maybe not the paint, maybe not everything, but you're going to get that car. And now it's not the same. It's a tube chassis. It's all It's flimsy plastic all over the body, and there's no working lights. There's no nothing. It's just it's a facsimile. It's not real. And from what I understand, from what I've been told from folks who follow along the NASCAR trail as part of the military liaison group that kind of brings veterans to go meet drivers and everything. Most of NASCAR is fake. Most of the personalities there are fake, and it's just a production, which is to me would make Dale Earnhardt the senior probably go insane, and most of those other guys. So it's not the sport it used to be, and then so I've gotten away from it. So maybe I'm not racist anymore. But if you think people who think that pastime does not require intelligence, you're wrong. All right, there's a lot of science that goes into auto racing, and I don't care if you're talking about formula, where you're at the tier 1, all the way down to truck racing, or even, look, lawnmower racing. You've got to know your stuff. You've got to have a craft. But the science that goes into all the professional racing is impressive. And it does make our cars better. That's a good thing, right? So that's that. Anyway, so that was the sidebar that all happened from the nastiness that went on Twitter. Basically what happened was a gentleman got on there, and like I said, he said, the Old Testament is about Jesus, and that for some reason brought a dogpiling on of people telling him that he was being hateful to the Jews and to the Jewish people, and basically dog whistling for people to commit violence against them, which is really a complete and total misunderstanding. Like, you don't understand Christianity at all, and I get it. We've done some gnarly things as Christians, but let's also not forget either that all races, creeds have our skeletons in our closet and committed misdeeds upon our fellow man. We are not perfect people. We're not perfect people, and that's why grace. That's why grace is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, you also can't hold me accountable for things that I haven't done or said. So if I didn't have a hand in it, I didn't. And I ran my mouth. I ran my mouth because I did, because that's what I do, and got equally labeled. But again, people who are hateful will try to use the excuse of labeling other people hateful in order to justify their feelings. Just challenge them on it. Pray for them about it. None of us. Hey, look, that's what the last That's what I heard. The last perfect guy that was on the planet, they put him on a cross. So, tis what it is. And we're not talking about the disciples. We are talking about Christ. So, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about another article that came out. I need to go find it. Crap. Um, but a guy wrote, he was Anglican. He's an Anglican. I've been reaching out to him. I've been bothering him. He hasn't responded at all. But I wanted him to come on and basically talk about it. But if he doesn't, then I'll go through it and I'll talk about my thoughts on it because I think it's worth discussing, especially since we're talking in the Old Testament right now. Why is it so important that we understand the importance of the Old Testament as we Christians understand it and read it? Because it is part of our Bible. It's not appropriated. It's God's Bible given to us, or it's God's testaments given to us. It doesn't belong to anybody but Him. He's giving it to us as a gift. So, that said, everybody, have a good evening. I'm definitely streaming tomorrow. Streaming tomorrow. Probably not on Friday. We'll see. We'll see how things shake out because if my cousin's playing softball, I may take the kid over to see her. It's her senior year in high school, and haven't gone to see the games that I've wanted to go see and cheered her on as I feel she deserves. Fig, as always, great. Thanks for having you in the chat. Go catch up if you want to find out what you missed. It was a pretty good read through. With that said, everybody, have a great evening. God bless and good night.